special guest, Robyn Priest. She is co-creator and chief non-conformist and the co-owner of Robyn Priest, Live Your Truth. This is a super special episode. I'm so grateful to have Robyn here with us. We actually connected and met in the Made to Grow conference, which is an amazing community of conscious entrepreneurs. So if you aren't in Made to Grow community, make sure you check that out. And we're here to share tips and tricks on owning your truth, being your authentic self. And Robyn is such a special, incredible soul. And I'm so grateful to have you here to share your stories, inspiration, and tips and tricks. So please go ahead, introduce yourself, Robyn.
Thanks, Heather. As Heather said, I'm Robyn Priest. I have my own mental health journey, and what that had me want to do was start my own business. So I've been working in 10 different countries, predominantly 3 or 4 at the moment. And we work on strategies for supporting people with mental health and peer support. So people with their own mental health supporting each other, and family members of people with their own mental health issues supporting each other too. Basically, I just have fun. I don't think I work.
I love that. When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, right? It's not my quote. That's a saying by somebody, but I love it. And I love that we both love what we do. We've both chosen to be our authentic self, do what people said not to do what people said you could not do. And here we are years later doing it. So hats off to us. And we want to inspire other people to do the same. So, we're here to help uncommon knowledge become common. And one thing I really am excited to chat about with Robyn today is really bringing mental health to a common conversation, right? We have physical health, we have mental health, we have emotional health. And the emotional and mental health is the same as the physical. We all have it. There's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong. It's just, where are we on the spectrum? Robyn was saying, sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have bad days. We all have a different spectrum. And I just wanted to introduce the concept of Abraham Hicks talks about the emotion ladder. So there's depression and there's joy. And no one goes from depressed to joy like that. But as long as we're moving up that ladder, we're moving in the right direction. And some days then we make our way back up, right? We're going up and down, and it is a journey. And I love how Robyn said it's a journey. So Robyn, please share about your journey and your entrepreneur journey with our audience.
Sure. I mean, one of the things, I was working as an executive director of a mental health service, got a diagnosis of what people call a serious mental health issue. So bipolar, which is, I think that's a good diagnosis to have. But what I wanted to do was create space for people to own who they were, to not trust other people telling them they could or couldn't do things. So I was working with different agencies, and I was still feeling a little confined. I was working in different countries, but I was like, I want to create some stuff for myself. So originally, I started doing consulting work for myself with government, with nonprofits, and I just kind of had this business on the side. I still had my full-time job, and I was going for it. And then for a while, living in New Zealand, I had my own business, which was very successful over there. But I got a little excitable and wanted to change countries. So took some jobs over here in North America, first in the US and then in Canada. But 4 years ago, one of my friends said to me, "Want to start a business?" And I went, "Sure." She said, "You have to move to Winnipeg, Canada." I was like, okay. So people told us that we couldn't start a business. People said we were crazy wanting to start a business around talking about mental health and peer support. We do a lot of work in peer support, and that's people supporting each other that have gone through common things. And people are like, "No, that's a non-profit thing, that's a publicly funded thing." And Charlotte Sitnick, my business partner, and I went, we're just going to do it because we want to be able to do what we want, when we want, work with the clients that we want, not be bound by a whole lot of rules. So we decided to make an agreement where we said, okay, in 6 months, we're going to give up our jobs. We're just going to do our business. And that happened. We didn't take a loan out. We just went, we're going to go out and start getting clients and doing it. And it was like backing ourselves. And I think that's one of the things that we don't do that often, back ourselves, because we hear all the chatter from other people. We hear all the chatter, our internal stigma about what we can and can't do. And I think we just went for it. So 4 years ago, Charlotte and I went for it. We've been paying ourselves reasonable money. We've been having fun. We've worked with pilots. We've worked with oil and gas. We're just about to start working with corrections officers, bus drivers, people in public health settings. Yeah. That's kind of a little about the journey, and it has its bumps, right?
Yeah, the entrepreneur journey is a roller coaster. No one's going to lie about that. That's why I have this show, to inspire entrepreneurs to start the journey and stay on the journey.
Yep.
Because it is a journey. That's the magic word, right? The destination is just the bonus point. The real part is the journey. And I love that your story, because many, many people listen to the voices in their head, but also the voices of other people instead of following their soul's desire. And if you didn't do that 4 years ago, you wouldn't have helped all the people you're helping today. So thank you for betting on you, for backing yourself and doing what you do and continuing to grow it, to make the old systems obsolete, to make it common knowledge, and to make it a common conversation, because we all have mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. And why can't we go to work or to our friend's place and go, oh yeah, I have bipolar disorder. Oh, it's kind of like I broke my arm. Like, we're all cool about having these conversations about, and I hope nobody takes offense about this, but people go, oh yeah, I have cancer, and everyone's there and chatty. If we say we have mental health issues, I think it's got better over the last few years because more people have talked about depression and anxiety. But some of the other things people are still scared to talk about. They're scared to talk about because of the stigma that comes with that. And I think I'd like it to be a common conversation. I love, like, the Bell Let's Talk Day, and I'm not doing an ad for Bell saying that, but why can't we just have it as a conversation every day? Like, why don't we just have those conversations? And I think it's because we're scared. We're scared of what others are going to think about us. We're scared of ourselves and what's going to happen. And I just want to back people to say, like, go after it. So peer support doesn't, or supporting others, or talking about your own mental health, you can make a career out of that. It doesn't have to be only publicly funded stuff. I've just been talking with a few people who are like, well, I can't get a job. And I'm like, create your own. And they went, what? I've been in the mental health system for years and years and years. I'm like, so why don't you create your own? Because the resilience that comes with coming through the system, that resilience, those skills are great when you go on the journey of being an entrepreneur. So someone I know just started their own business, got their website up, and people are coming to them and they're like, well, we can't just do it for free. And people are paying.
Yes.
Right? But we never ask. If we don't ask, we don't know.
Yeah. And if we don't ask, we can't receive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love that. And it's making this common conversation so that, because I just want to bring and it's a hard point, and it hits home for me because we've had suicide in our family before, and that over the last couple of years, it has been a common theme. And there has been many people in my life who have friends and family who have been affected by this. And I feel like if we make it common to talk about, it creates a space for those people to have a conversation instead of thinking there's no way out. And I come from a point of being, when I was post-concussion, I had injured my left temporal lobe and was quite angry. and mad and saw no way out. And I know I was in a deep, dark place, and it was my brain. And, the thing is, it's invisible, and they're like, oh, it's all in your head. You're like, yes, you're right, it is. You're like, nailed it. That's where the neurons are firing. You got it. And so I take SAMe. It is proven to work as good, if not as an antidepressant, and for chronic pain. So that is something I cycled through St. John's wort. I still use St. John's wort tea. It's very relaxing. I love it. And I'm trying to think of other ones, but there's tons. And I just wanted to bring that to the forefront because I don't think that's a lot of things people know. I've cycled and I've tried with and without, and I just know my brain requires the assistance, and I'm cool with that. Mm. And I love the version of me when I'm taking my supplements and being my best self. And some days I have low days, and I also just respect that. And I take the space and give myself the space instead of beating myself up and making myself wrong. But it took me a long time to even tell a family member that I was in the dumps, years ago. And it was a coach that was like, I'm like, it's fine. I'm a human ninja, or I'm a human ninja. He's like, ninjas are human. They need breaks. They also need support and community. So you have to promise me by the end of the week, you will have spoken to a family member. And I swear that saved me.
And that's the piece, right? Talking about it. If every single person ever thought about killing themselves, told someone, I would think we'd be looking at 50%. I think people have it. Like, I think it jumps through people's brains all the time. And when we have conversations with people, like, my first question is always, do you really want to be dead and it be done and dusted, or you just want what's happening now to stop? Because the pain. And when we allow people to open up and not freak out and go, oh my God, we have to call crisis team, we have to call the police, if we can sit in those uncomfortable conversations and allow people just to talk about what they're feeling. And don't get me wrong, there are times we do need to call for support, but often people just want to be heard for the pain they're in. They want to be able to chat about it. They want to be able to sit and not be judged, because whether we kind of think their situation is tough or not, that's how it comes to them. So one of the things that, like, I'm always encouraging people to look at peer support as a career and starting businesses and going after it, because we can have those conversations. I've tried in the past to kill myself. Super glad I'm crap at it, and I'm still here and able to run a business and have fun in life. I've lost my brother and my grandfather to suicide, so I do understand the perspective of wanting to kind of save people. But as long as we have it as this, oh my God, I can't sit with you if you're talking about that, we're not going to make a change. So, yeah. So and it's that, it is that place about supporting people is on a spectrum too. I'm not anti or pro any meds, any supplements. I'm pro informed choice, that people look at all of the options. And as you said, work out what it is for you. I don't take any meds or any supplements, and I have tough days and worked out how to get through them. And you talked about, for you, taking those supplements worked. For some of my friends, taking medication is a lifesaver. So it's letting ourselves off the hook and letting go of the internal stigma about, if it looks like this or this or this, that's bad.
Yeah.
And just being real and backing ourselves to kind of get through it.
Yeah. And I just want to say a couple other things that always help me too. And I know we have to have the integrity to hold ourselves to actually do it, but breath work is magical. If you don't know who Wim Hof is and you haven't tried the Wim Hof method, he created it because his wife jumped out the window and he was left struggling and in chaos and didn't know what to do and wished he could have helped her. And he started doing this breath work to help himself. And now they've scientifically proven that he's removed a virus from his body in under 10 minutes through breath work and mindset. Now that's magic.
And again, it's again that place of find what works for you. I know for some people they're like breath work. Some people love it, and I'm like, find what works for you. And one of the things that we were talking about before this, right, is the place about if you want to go after, like being an entrepreneur, or you want to go after having the life of your dreams, not someone else's. It's about not taking on someone else's what's acceptable, what's appropriate, what's realistic, because you're the only one that can determine that. And if we can step through that fear, it's scary starting your own business, because you're like, oh, am I going to be able to survive? What's going to happen? Who's going to say what? But if we can step through that, like we can have these amazing journeys, and they are journey. I love how you called it a roller coaster, because it is. And it's, well, I like roller coasters. So that's like,
me too, but I might drop a couple swear bombs that you could hear all across Canada's Wonderland when you find me on a roller coaster, but I do enjoy the thrill. And that is exactly how my entrepreneur journey looks. A few swear bombs here and a few cheers there, and then we just learn to enjoy the journey and practice the art of satisfaction and being in the now. Because when we have one foot in the past and one foot in the future, we're anxious and depressed. And so for me, one of the things is reminding myself to stay present in the now and just thinking of what I'm grateful for in this moment. It's something that's really helped me on that entrepreneur journey, because there will be perceived failures, but we just take that as feedback. Right? Thank you for showing me what didn't work and I prefer, right? And keeping that contrast for yourself and staying in that present moment. And I wanted you to talk about those 4 pillars that really you said help. And I wanted to add a little to it, because I think what most people are missing is that community, that space to have that conversation. So I'll pass it back to you.
I was sharing that I lived in New Zealand for a while, and they have a model of wellness called whare tapawha, which is like a whare is a house. So it's like the pillars of the house, and it's like mind. So the mental piece, it's the body, the physical piece, it's the spiritual piece, which is not necessarily religion, but for some people it is. And it's the piece about like whānau or community, like friends, family, the pieces that support you. And it's those places, even whatever we go after in life, if we can look at all of those pieces, when one's not working well, the house falls down, right? You lose that pillar. I know, I like making funny sounds.
No, I love it. It's all good. All good. So do I.
And so I think it's those pieces that as we go on this roller coaster journey, we look at all of them. It's not one or the other. And I know that sometimes one's a little higher than the other, and that's okay. But it's exploring those pieces, and all of those are interwoven. We're not just our mental health. And sometimes I remember someone saying once to me, someone wants me to take a pill that looks at 20% of who I am, not the other 80%. Right? And again, I want to say I'm not anti or pro meds, or I'm like, work out what it is for you and go after that. So it's who are we as a whole being, and what are all of those pieces that have an impact on us?
Absolutely. And I think you can even take that to business as well. So you need the spiritual side. You need to be connected to your purpose. You need to have your mental health, like mind your mind, right? Give yourself the space when you need, and get into fast action when you can. And community is so important, because only 10% of the population is willing to do what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and only about 1% of those people will actually succeed, because often they didn't have the right skill set, mindset, habits, and community. Because they call it the crab syndrome. So you are the one person in your 20 friends who is willing to own their life. And as you try to leave and do something different, they pull you back down. And not viciously or intentionally, it's unconscious and actually energetically. So if we come back to the spirit component, the physical realm that we operate in is only like a very small portion, and compared to the energetic, spiritual, morphogenic field that we're connected to. And so if we actually understand how important that energy is that we're in, that we are connected to the people we surround ourselves with. So just by our mirror neurons, by mirroring behavior, by the morphogenic field, by their behaviors, you will become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And so find a community of conscious entrepreneurs playing to win. And that's why we created the Yona community. That's why I'm so glad I met you and Made to Grow. And I think those pillars transfer in all areas of our life, and we can use that in every way. So find your entrepreneur community.
I love that you said that piece. I love that you talked about like the mental kind of aspect of stuff. There are days where I go, I can't at the moment get up. And I'm going to allow myself that without getting super cranky, right? I have days where I struggle. And then there are days where I'm like on fire. Woo, 3 people's jobs one day. But it is that place about allowing yourself to have some space for what you need. But you have to actually believe in yourself and trust in yourself to take those moments and not be stuck in them, not have that internal stigma that, like, oh my God, I had a day off, now my life is over and my business is over. But allowing ourselves those kind of moments.
Absolutely. And everyone knows what she's talking about, right? Like, especially if you're an entrepreneur and A-type personality, we're addicted to productivity, and we base our worth on what we're doing, not what we're being. Like, am I doing enough? Right? Because that's society. It's so sexy to be busy. It's not. Stop it. It's actually sexier to be cool, calm, collected, have more time freedom because you work smarter and not harder. But society literally is conditioning us to be on a hamster wheel. So like, let's kick that hamster wheel. Let's kick the guilt. Let's kick the expectations, and let's create the space. One of my coaches, Danielle Amos, taught me this, every day you do your best, and your best is enough. And a different version of you shows up every day, and that's cool.
I love that you talk about the hamster wheel. We actually have a game called the hamster wheel, which we let like workplaces and like health services play, and it shows what people who have a diagnosed mental health issue go through in terms of getting support. And it does, we could do the same thing for the workplace in terms of we're told it's got to look like this, and then people are like, well, why aren't you doing this? And you're like, I need to take some time for me. That was the biggest kick in the butt when I came to North America. In Australia and New Zealand, it's 4 to 6 weeks annual leave and 2 weeks sick leave. And then I moved to the US, and it was like, here's 2 weeks leave, sick
if you're lucky,
vacation together. And I was like, what? So now as an entrepreneur, I can create my own vacation sick leave schedules. And I want to say it's hard to do sometimes. And I know that's one of my faults. And I'm okay with that. Like learning how to actually take that time. And right at this moment, I'm taking a bit of time, which is like,
without the guilt. That's the magic sauce, right?
Yeah, I have the guilt sometimes, but I'm good at remembering to go, let the guilt go. And then it pops back up because it's going to, right?
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Shouldn't you be doing this right now, Robyn?
Should I be working more? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Absolutely. And giving yourself that space is actually telling the universe that you value yourself and that you're capable, worthy, and deserving, and that all the things will come your way when they're meant to be. And today you get to just take the day. You're actually telling the universe, I come first. I'm worthy. And guess what? More will come your way. So when you take that day, just be in joy and love and expect the best, because good things can come. And I actually took one of those days on Monday. I was like, July is going to be really busy. So if I don't leave my bed today, I'm cool with that. What favorite show do I want to watch? And I
Love it.
had like food already cooked and just like got to lounge for the full day. And I was like, no business phone, no phone. Sometimes when I do that, my mom's like, hello, hello, are you there? I'm like, Mom, 24 hours, no phone. I'm here. I love you. So I do want us all to create that space for ourselves and no make wrong and really truly allow yourself to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other tips do you have for us today, Robyn, before we wrap up?
I think one of the things for me is when we're told we have mental health issues, whether we're diagnosed, I think people diagnosed are the people that got caught by the system. I think we all have mental health struggles, but I think one of the things is to trust ourselves, because if we truly listen to ourselves, like we do actually have the answers to that. We do have the ability to create what we want. One of the other things is I think people get stuck in learned helplessness. We're often told you shouldn't do this, you should do that, this is how it should be, blah, blah. And I think the place for me is I used to get called manipulative. But you know what that is? I'm a great negotiator because I get what I want. I'm strategic and I'm creative. So one of my tips is think about what those words really mean, because most of the time when people are using words like that or non-compliant, I haven't done what someone else wants me to do, or I'm getting something that someone else wants, but they haven't stepped into going after it. So I often play this little game with people I work with where we look at those words and flip them and go, what's that really saying? And what's the strength of that? So I think that's a tip for people that want to be entrepreneurs, to look at that imposter syndrome stuff, which I think the majority of us have at times, and just do a little play on some of that and see our strengths with that. And I think I said before, like the only people that know what's appropriate and realistic is us, is ourselves. Yeah. We're the only ones that limit us. So what do we want? Like, and step into it. Take that.
Big question.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's the big question, right? What do you want? What do you want? That's the hardest thing I think most people have a problem answering. And I usually just like to guide it by like, what do you love? Like if you could just spend your life doing what you love, that's how we started the episode, right? Like if you could spend your life doing what you love, what would that be? That's your gift. That's your purpose. That's what you came here to do. That's your soul mission. And I truly believe our mission is to go through the journey ourselves, learn, and then turn around once we've mastered it and teach it. That's true full ascension. And then we get to pull up everyone else with us.
Love that. It just resonates. And here's the other thing, like we go after something today, it may change in the future. Just because we choose this here at the moment doesn't mean I can't go like this. Oh, I'm getting the camera. Yeah. Right? Doesn't mean that's one of the things that happens in services. If people are in services, they're like, set your goals and you can't change them. Here's my thing. As an entrepreneur, I get to set them and newly set them and newly set them. And I don't have to be told by other people I can't change them.
Absolutely. And in our community, we goal plan, do review every quarter because my coach teaches build the plane in the air. And I think if you are just sticking to one goal and you don't pivot along the way, then we end up building in vain because the version of you that set that goal is not you've got to keep growing with yourself. So truly owning that purpose and making it look the way you want. Neville Goddard says, we're all creator gods and we came here to create. And we're only living in sin when we're not doing what we want. So how's that?
I love that. I'm going to steal that.
Please do.
Or not steal it, just use it. But yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Okay, Robyn. So any other last tips and where can they learn more about you and stay connected with you?
I don't know if I have any more last tips. Trust your gut. Believe in yourself. Trust your spidey sense. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. If it feels right, go after it. If you're scared, step into it. Right? Have a go. Because the worst case is that doesn't work, and then you get to try something else. Where can they find me? www.robynpriest.com, Robyn with a Y. We have the website. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, like at the Robyn Priest, and we have a YouTube channel where in the start of COVID, when we were in lockdown, I did these 5 to 10 minute fit and fun for mental health, where I got to be a goofball, like riding my broom as a horse, doing pony club in my lounge room or living room. You call it living room. So there's 75 of those on that YouTube channel. So if you want to laugh and then a little bit at the end about thinking about your mental health, that's the one. But like, super happy to chat to anyone that wants to engage in conversations about mental health, about peer support, about starting peer support as a business and doing it on their own. Yeah, just reach out. Or you can, I'll give you my email. It's just robyn@robynpriest.com.
Love it. And we'll have everything for you guys in the show notes on Apple there, so you can grab it. And thank you so much, Robyn. You're an incredible soul. The world needs more people like you. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep expanding and growing. Keep betting on yourself. And thank you so much for sharing your energy, knowledge, and inspiration with our community today. We're so grateful for you.
Thanks for the time.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. This is an important conversation, and what a good show it was today. So, you know what I say? Stay happy, healthy, wealthy, expect magic and miracles, and we'll see you next time.